So, MacKenzie, you've got a great collaboration out right now with Dustin Lynch, which is obviously climbing the country charts as we speak. It's called Thinking About You. I know Dustin originally recorded this song with Lauren Elena for his Tullahoma album. So tell me how you got involved with this version, because I believe he sort of came across your voice on an unnamed demo.
Yeah, so obviously the timing with those two artists didn't work out to push a song to radio. Lauren, she already had a different single going to radio. That happens all the time. So Dustin kind of reached out to a few different females in Nashville who, have deals and were putting out music and had stuff going on, and kind of got us to audition for the part basically. And he got a folder of singer 1, singer 2, singer 3. He didn't have names attached to it because I think he wanted to just fall in love with their version of it. And luckily I got to put down a version and he picked me, and I'm just really grateful to be on it with him because it's changing a lot of things in my life.
For sure. I mean, you grew up on a bison and cattle ranch near Medicine Hat in Alberta, Canada. And I believe thanks to your mother, you started studying piano, violin and voice at the age of 4. You were then playing classical music in a quartet at weddings from around the age of 11 or 12. What was the moment, though, that you remember really sort of heading in the direction of country music? Who was the artist that turned you on, or the artist that kind of fueled that passion?
I think because, like you said, I grew up on a cattle and bison ranch. Country music was what my whole family listened to growing up. So in the time, I grew up in the 90s. So Shania Twain, Garth Brooks, the Dixie Chicks, Dina Carter, just that kind of era of country music. I fell in love with, and that's what we all listened to, Rascal Flatts. And I think, I was doing a lot of acting stuff. And I think at some point I was struggling getting a job with acting, and I have been, loved music my whole life. And I was like, I'm going to try to write music. And at the time, honestly, I tried pop, I tried a Lady Gaga kind of thing. And I just always would come back to country because that's how I grew up. And I was like, this feels the most like me and the most authentic me, not trying to be something else. And so I kind of stuck to that and started making trips down to Nashville, writing, and just fell in love with the genre even more at that point.
I know you were into musical theatre from a young age, and I'm assuming that's what obviously, led to your acting roles, most notably in the Netflix show Travelers. I have noticed, right, that your music videos, they seem to add another layer to your songs, or maybe even bring them more into focus. A lot of artists you would speak to, they'll admit sometimes that shooting a music video isn't their favorite part of releasing music. But do you think with your background in acting, it helps you, say, fully commit to the concept and be less self-conscious around cameras?
Absolutely. I feel super, super comfortable in front of a camera just because I've been doing it my whole life. And I'm actually shooting a new music video on Thursday this week. So yeah, it's something that that part of the being an artist I love too, and love creating the concepts. Me and my director, we write everything together. I'm very involved in the shots, everything. So yes, I do love that. Tell me, can you hear my earrings hitting my AirPods?
No.
Okay, because it's loud for me. I'm gonna take them off because I feel like they're clinking around. Hold on.
I love the attention to detail.
Well, it's just in my ears, it's clinking against the AirPods. So I'm like, you maybe can hear that.
So last November, you released a 7-song EP called Drinking Songs, The Collection. 3 of those songs I know have topped the Canadian country charts, and you've become the first female Canadian country artist to have 3 consecutive #1s over there since Shania Twain in 1998. You were also, I believe, the most played Canadian artist on radio over there last year. I asked this question because there's a very obvious difference between Irish and American country. From a sound, style, and lyrical theme perspective, are there differences between American and Canadian country?
I think, that's a hard question because I think, the level of artists in the US, there's just so many more people. So the quality maybe is only the best of the best get actually on radio. And so for a while, I think there was a stigma that Canadian country like maybe wasn't as good or something like that. I don't believe that. And I specifically think because so many artists now, so many Canadian artists are down in Nashville writing with like the best of the best.
Mhm.
I mean, everybody knows that's where the best country writers are the most like in one spot. Like that's just, they have just so many writers. And of course there's amazing writers everywhere in the world, but like that's where like the majority of them all live. And so I feel like for me as a Canadian artist to go down there and write with those people and like get in those circles was so important, because I felt like that was my best chance of like getting a great song, or at least having like more opportunities to get a great song. And so now I feel like Canadian country and American country is very similar, because we're all writing with the exact same people. We're all getting it produced by the same producers. So yeah, that's kind of what I think of it now.
I mean, obviously, between yourself, Lindsay L, Tay Bay, the two Tennille's, Towns, and Arts, there's this massive emergence all of a sudden of Canadian country stars crossing over, isn't there?
There is, and for the longest time, like that was not like accepted at US radio. Like it just wasn't. I don't know. There was like a stigma around it, and I really do feel like a lot of us are like breaking down those walls and those barriers, because a lot of it, in my opinion, and this is strictly just my opinion, is like the streaming services. It doesn't. Nobody looks at like where that artist is from or who they wrote it with. It's like a good song is a good song. And if a song starts like streaming like crazy, country radio has to start playing it because it's reacting and people want to hear it, and like it has whatever amount of streams. So I feel like that has broken down borders a little bit more, because nobody cares where you're from. It's just like, if it's good, it's good.
And something I don't think the majority of the audience would be aware of over here is the fact that your brother, Kaelan, he won Canadian
Yeah.
Idol in 2004.
Yeah.
That must have been a very proud moment for the family. And do you think maybe in hindsight sort of gave you the confidence and motivation for you to chase your own dreams?
100%. I definitely think that I didn't even really like know that was like, well, A, achievable, or B, like a career, really. Like I didn't know how you got into it. I didn't know any part of like what a publisher does, what a manager does, like none of that. And how would you, as like a young person who has no family in entertainment? So when Kaelan got in it, it almost was like more accessible to me. Like it was like, oh, if he could do it, I could do it. And he knows people. And I remember like for so long when I was young, I'd be like, can you just like put me on one of your songs and I can feature on it? And he's like, no, you have to like grind it out and like find your own path. And now he's like super proud of everything that I've been able to achieve too.
So in 2014, I believe you moved to Nashville, and to have literally the best songwriters in the world on your doorstep, the finest musicians, to be immersed in that, to be able to go to songwriting sessions and observe that premier level of creativity and the sheer speed in which those guys write hit songs. How do you think that's pushed you as an artist?
I mean, it's totally changed my world. Like I totally believe in surrounding yourself with people that are like better than you at their craft. So when you put me in a room as a new writer, as a new artist with like hit songwriters, you're just gonna learn from them. Like even if you don't get a song that day, you learn that it's also okay not to get a song that day. Like that's part of it. Like you have to show up every single day, try to write. 90% of the time you don't get something, and that 10% it's like magic. And that's kind of the job. That's part of it. So I've learned like patience in the room, like in the writing room with those writers. I've learned, how to, if you don't, in my opinion, if you don't have like the concept, the hook, you're kind of just aimlessly writing. So there's just so much stuff that you wouldn't know if you haven't, been around those people before.
And because of his, phenomenal level of success with acts like from Nickelback, Florida Georgia Line, Jake Owen, Morgan Wallen, how have you found working with producer Joey Moi, and what do you think he's been able to bring out of your sound?
He is like honestly my biggest supporter at my label. Like he's been my day one kind of guy. He is a very tough, like hard, what's the word? Tough love kind of guy. Like if you send in a song and he doesn't like it, he will tell you. So I think the good thing about him is like he from day one has been like so honest. like it's never been like blowing smoke, never anything like that. So I really trust his opinion. Like when he says something's good, I know he means it's like really good. I really trust him. And he's just kind of brilliant at what he does. You know, he's one of the top producers in Nashville and in the world, in my opinion. And he's just a great human.
Next month, you begin a US tour with Jordan Davis. And earlier this year, Hayley Withers was talking to me about just how significant the opportunity of playing shows with him has been in furthering her career. How much are you looking forward to that run of dates?
I'm so excited. Jordan is like such a sweet dude, like super inclusive, super just like warm human. So on a personal level, just to hang out with somebody who I like really, really enjoy is going to be super fun. And then I'm also just a massive fan of him. So to get to hear his songs every night and learn from him and, you know, play in front of his audience is going to be so cool.
You've already shared the stage with such country icons as, you know, Kenny Chesney, Rascal Flatts, Chris Lane, Blake Shelton. What have you taken away from those experiences?
The same kind of thing. Like you watch them every night and you learn, like, for me, a lot of it's like run of show, like how does this song flow into this song, or like talking points, like what do you talk about in between your songs. And you know, like a lot of it is off the cuff kind of stuff, but some of it is planned by those bigger artists of like how to set up this song. So for me, it's like learning how they put on a show and how to make the best, like most entertaining set is something that I like really try to like learn from them.
And now, as the world slowly begins to open up again, do you have an ambition in the back of your mind to one day, hopefully in the near future, come over and play some shows, maybe in the UK and Ireland?
I would love, love, love to do that. We definitely have plans, and like my music is getting played over there a little bit more. So I want to come and like hopefully see people sing along and just meet everyone and like thank them for the support. So yes, as soon as things get a little bit like more, I feel like we're just kind of in the mud again a little bit, but when everything is open, I would die to come over and play shows.
And just finally, MacKenzie, I know last month yourself and your husband Jake celebrated your first wedding anniversary. He himself is a great actor and a phenomenal singer-songwriter. He's got this whole like Ryan Adams thing going on.
He does.
To, you know, to have him in your corner, and this obviously works both ways, but that constant support and somebody who clearly understands the pressures and the demands of the industry, how much does that mean to you?
It is like, I mean, I would never trade it for anything. Having him, you know what I'm going through, or as a support system. I mean, he just understands everything. And, you know, sometimes people say like, it's weird when two people are in the same industry, but for us, it's such a blessing because I don't know, he's just like, if I'm having a bad day because whatever, I didn't get that song or I didn't get that, whatever it may be, that show, he just totally gets it. And that's like nice to have somebody who understands it, every aspect of what you're going through. He's the
Listen,
best. He really is.
Now, I love his music. I've only just discovered him because of you, and it's really, really good stuff. Listen, thank you so much for your time. Continued success, and as you say, you know, hopefully it's not too long before you're standing on a stage over here.
I would love that. I would love that. Thank you so much for hanging out today.